Welcome to episode 194 of Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host, Tommy Nanny, bringing you a fun and exciting show as we recap the Super Bowl 60 game, and then we'll go through some of our props, and then we'll finish with the pick four at Fairgrounds to kick off the Kentucky Derby Trail. I think for us, right? Did we do any Derby? I don't think so. Maybe we did a race, but not a Derby. So that's how the show's going to lay out. Let's go through who we have. Jason Santa, as always.
What's up, Tom?
Jason, what's going on? And Jimmy Chalk.
Happy to be here as always.
All right. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Giovannina's Pizza. You tried the rest. Now go ahead and try the best. All right. Super Bowl 60. Final score, Seattle was 29-13, similar to last year. I don't think the score did the game actual justice. 29-13 seems like it was relatively close. It was not. Don't think anything was a surprise when it came to Super Bowl. I think we all kind of predicted it wasn't going to be like a fabulous game. Nobody was overly excited to watch this game. Obviously, we all had our props going. We all thought unders. I think I was the lone one that actually have Seattle covering. Jason, I know had Seattle. Chalky, I don't remember. Did you have them winning?
I had three. So
you had them winning, not
cover.
But yeah, it was 29-13, and we'll go through it. Like I said, the game. New England's offense was dreadful. Drake May was dreadful. Offensive line was bad. I think May was a bigger problem than the line. I know people are probably going to say the line was bad. If you look, Darnold and May had the exact same time to throw. The average time to throw was exactly the same. One guy avoided pressure. The other guy didn't know what to do with the football. Kind of similar to Hurts. I watched some of the breakdowns. He had guys, and he was just indecisive to make the throws, hesitated, and took a sack. I think he was terrible. Now they said he had a shoulder injury, whatever. But overall, the game was not great. Jason?
Yeah, I think Darnold did a better job of maneuvering around in the pocket than May did. But I think May was under more siege than Darnold. To me, the whole game, like in a nutshell, just kind of is what I think. The secret to success in football is now. Like you need a good quarterback. Now I don't know.
Darnold did not play well.
He didn't play well.
If Darnold played better, the score would have been 40-0 in the first half.
More what I'm getting at is line play, right? If you can rush four guys and get pressure, you have such an advantage. That's why the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
last year,
the only thing, Seattle blitzed with their cornerbacks.
They blitzed. They did some blitzing,
but in the first half more than they did all season.
Yeah, they did some blitzing. They definitely did. But they also got pressure with four guys. Also, that Will Campbell was getting trucked the whole game. Like he was bad. He was bad the whole game. He was getting backed up, and
they would just go right through him. Yeah,
go through him. So it's just, to me, it's a simple game. Like you need good offensive line, you need a good defensive line, you need a competent quarterback. And if you have that, you're going to be successful in this sport. It would, like you said, it really wasn't a game. I thought New England was going to get shut out. I got a text from a former member of Broad Street Hustle who actually said New England could steal this game, he said at halftime. To which I responded, which game are you watching? Because I don't know what the hell you're watching. I didn't think they were going to score. So it was a bad Super Bowl. I did well. The props I gave out, I was only 2 out of 5, but we'll get into how I did well when we get to the props, but I don't know. It was not a good game. It was not. It was kind of what we thought it was going to be, like you said, Tom.
I think the bottom line is probably the best team in the West was not represented in the Super Bowl.
New England didn't belong there.
Right, like New England did not belong. They They had an easy schedule all year. We talked about. They played however many teams have fired coaches. They got in the playoffs. They faced. Now, I mean, they caused it, but they faced Stroud, who was the worst playoff quarterback I've ever seen. And then they faced the backup quarterback to Denver. They got wet. Like, they shouldn't have been there. I mean, they won their games and they're there, but you saw. And McDonald just completely outcoached Josh Daniels. Josh Daniels, I saw something where they ran the most they've ever ran in like the traditional set, which is like the running back, one running back, two receivers, tight end, whatever. They ran it like 72% of the time. It was like everything they planned. It was, I don't know. They must have thought Seattle was going to do something, and they thought this would be and Seattle changed up their strategy and completely outcoached them. Like I said, if Sam Darnold was a little bit better than he played, I think the score would have been a complete. I mean, he missed wide open receivers. For first downs that extends drives. He had JSN on one of the plays that would have been a touchdown. I mean, he was not great. But it didn't matter. I mean, New England, if Seattle wanted to, I think they could have shut him out.
I think, Seattle probably was the best team in the NFC, but if not, the Rams. So
yeah.
I wouldn't have I don't have any issue with Seattle winning the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't have had any issues with the Rams winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Chalky?
Yeah, I mean, I was not really a believer in Seattle most of the year, for sure. By the time I had the Super Bowl, I obviously believed enough of them to win. So to me, it's not like a fraudulent champion or anything like that. Whether it's a recent bias or not, I think it was like ESPN ranked them in the top 10 best Super Bowl teams of all time, which is
I don't know
absolutely ridiculous when I'm a homer, but you compare this team to last year's Eagles team and you have Seattle top 10 and last year's Eagles team was 40th best out of 60, they said.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like I think last year's Eagles team wins, but
ESPN likes to do lists to make controversy.
Yeah, of course.
And two, they got their fake DVO and they base everything off of DVOA.
Yeah.
And Seattle was
that's how it got up there. That they finished number 3, which
right. So it's a fake stat that they just
the other stat. I don't know, it was PFF. Like the Eagles defense graded out better comparing last year this year, but the games played out like you said pretty similar, except for the fact that the Eagles offense was even with obviously helped by the defense. Had 34-0 before Kansas City even scored last year, and look, give Darnold credit. He didn't make any mistakes that cost the team. But like you said, Tom, he didn't play great. I mean, he needed a couple of completions toward the end of the game to get to 50% completions on the game. And I was never of the mind that New England could steal the game. But if that was going to happen, New England's defense played fairly well through the first 3 quarters. So if Darnold makes one mistake and Gonzalez picks off a pass and takes it, now you're talking 9-7, that flips the game around. But it didn't happen. And there's been a lot of comparisons with this year's team versus last year's Eagles, and there's certainly some similarities. But much like we said about the Eagles, like the Seahawks team, the offense revolves around the run. If you get the run going, then it's easier for Darnold. And although the Eagles didn't have a run game in the Super Bowl last year, the fact that the run game was so good got them to the game, and Hurts was able to make plays in the Super Bowl when they weren't, when they shut Barkley down. But I mean, like you look at I was thinking there was a second field goal drive where Walker single-handedly carried the team down the field for like 70 yards. Like, so Darnold was missing throw, but because the fact that the Patriots were that much worse, because Seattle has a very good defense, obviously, it just wasn't an entertaining game, like in any sort of way. It was, I'm looking at the ugly at the punt, and like, the touchdown drive. Well, obviously Seattle's defense scored the one, and the other one was a short field, 37 yards when they got the fumble, or I'm not sure if it was interception or fumble.
Interception.
Yeah. And that was the tight end whoever got wide open because New England bit on the play action fake. So the fact that Walker was having such a great game, they keyed on him and it opened up over the top. Boom. So not the prettiest Super Bowl, not one that I think will ever go down as particularly memorable in any sort of way. But the better team won. And, I'm okay saying, Seattle is a as a worthy champion for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a big Seattle believer probably most of the season. Even when we did our halfway point, I think we had a chance to kind of regroup. I think Jason might have said Seattle, but I still didn't have them in the championship.
I
But
remember.
I think he did. I think he's had Seattle. But
I think he
I
did.
will say that when we did our playoff bracket, myself and Jason both had Seattle winning the Super Bowl. I mean, they were favorite, but we did have them winning. So we believed a little bit earlier. That's all.
No, I didn't believe till this actual Super Bowl. I picked
Yeah.
the guy. I picked them to beat the 49ers, but I picked against them along the way everywhere.
I honestly did. I thought it was a down year. Like I just also, it wasn't like they're dominant. I didn't think.
I think this game was indicative of the way the whole year went with the league.
Yeah.
Like it just, I mean, there wasn't. I
Well,
mean, yeah, there were
even
some
this
good games,
game-
but like it just wasn't the same
Even
this year.
game, it was like New England's offense was bad in every playoff game. Well, they played the Chargers. They had bad weather in 2 of the games. May looked terrible. Like it was like, well, maybe they did the exact same thing in the Super Bowl. Like there was no. I mean, it was
Yeah,
exactly,
they just didn't belong.
yeah.
They didn't belong. But
I
wait,
mean, you could argue that was probably like some of the least talented of two teams that ever play in the Super Bowl. Because like you go up and down Seattle's roster, it's not like they're riddled with.
Yeah, but
like,
they have
all
a
guys.
lot of. I think they have a lot of good talent on defense, and JSN
Yeah.
is obviously establishing himself as a premier receiver. I'm still not. I don't think Darnold's a top 5 or 10 quarterback, but I mean, you can't knock him.
Yeah.
The doubts of him not playing well in the big games, he played well enough this year, and so I have to give him credit. But I don't know where I would rank them in 60 Super Bowl teams, but they're not one of the best teams ever or one of the best defenses ever at this point.
off the beaten track, Meeker's Cockamamie Survivor. Who won that?
I don't remember.
You don't even know. Were you in it? You were in it, right?
I was in the final, so I actually picked New England there because I said
Well, that's
no
good.
no one else is going to pick New England. So
Did
out
anyone
of like 10 of us that were left, I think 2 of us picked New England.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
That's the right
I'm
move.
like, if New England does end up winning, I'll have
Yeah,
a shot to
right.
win.
10 people were left in it. That's
Yeah, or
fair.
whatever it was. So to try to get the right score with Seattle winning, with everybody else,
I
like,
would have had.
you got to
I
fall
had
on it.
43, which I probably would have won, but I didn't.
What was this? It was what 42 was the
42. Yeah,
total?
mine was 23-20.
I'll look it up here while we talk, but there was like
Yeah.
there was like 4 different tiebreakers. It's the figure. It's like you're gonna
That's
hit
stupid.
whatever.
Anything else around the game? I mean, I don't think it was an overly enjoyable game to talk about it as well as.
No, there was a 27-16 prediction on Seattle,
that's
so that's
43.
close. Yeah, that would be like right there. I
Yeah.
think if it was closest to the over under, that's who would have won.
All right. Well, let's. Jason, you said you had our props. You graded out the props.
Yeah,
and you can.
I graded out
run
the
through
props.
them?
Tom, you had a really good Super Bowl. You went 5-0 with your props. So you had Cup over 3.5 receptions, which won. That was plus 126. You had Barner for a touchdown, which you got. You had Stevenson over 3.5 receptions, which you also got. You had May over 22.5 receptions, which you got. You had Stevenson under 50.5 rush yards, which you got. So out of $100, you won. Your total came to 246.
So 146 profit.
So 146.
I needed those last 2 crap drives by New England got me that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Stevenson.
Yeah.
The Stevenson props.
Yeah. So I went 2 and 3. I hit the May under by a half a yard. It was 37.5. He had 37 rush yards. I had the first half under.
You actually got a good number on that because I saw lines close to the game. It was like 33-ish on his rushing. So
Well,
Like
no, I thought it started at 33 and then it got bet up. It got bet up to
one of the guys that I follow, they had their like 20 guys come on and make bets, and their line was, maybe it wasn't the closing line then, but their line on the
Yeah, it was
May
the
rushing
opening
was
line.
already was all 33, and they gave that on Saturday, so I assumed it was close to the
It
end.
went,
But
it started there. It went to like 38 or 39, and then by the
Mhm.
time we did it, it settled it to where
gotcha. Okay.
it like 37.
Yeah.
and a
So
half.
all right. So waiting.
'Cause I bet it on Sunday, and it was 37.
And that was that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Shaheed MVP never had a chance. Darnold MVP. I mean, the quarterback usually always wins, but he didn't. And then my last one was Hollins under 2.5. He had two like ridiculous throws by May to get him over, so that was a loser. But I was telling these guys, I probably before the playoffs even started, or maybe when they clinched the first seed, I threw money on Walker and Charbonnet to win MVP. So I got Walker at 75-1. Charbonnet was 100-1, but he got hurt obviously. But so we ended up profiting there. And the only reason I didn't give that out on the show as one of my props is I did more research. The last running back to win MVP was Terrell Davis, 30 years ago. So,
and I mean, I know they gave it like. I had a problem with Walker. I mean, I was rooting for you, obviously, but I had a problem with Walker.
I mean, he was the dominant offensive
Find somebody on the
player.
defense. Find somebody on the defense. There's a defense player that had 2 sacks on a forced fumble. Like,
I mean, that just proves in a year when the quarterback was not going to win, it was still that difficult to give it to a defensive guy. So it's
like, I mean,
they had like if you had a quarterback or somebody had 2 interceptions, maybe you would have.
You got the guy won MVP without even scoring a touchdown. I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, 100. Like, come on. I don't know.
I mean, the last defense was what Vaughn Miller had a safety and a touchdown in
they look at
the Denver. So like that, and because
they just looked at his rush yards. Yeah,
I go back to Sweat. Sweat was dominant last year.
Yeah,
in that game, and he didn't get MVP.
I mean, they were showing May's stats like he's the worst quarterback second worst quarterback to play 3 games at least in the playoffs and go to that and go to Super Bowl. The worst ever was Manning in 2015. Like, he was atrocious in the playoffs, and that defense carried him through, which is why Miller won the MVP because Manning didn't do anything in the Super Bowl. But.
Yeah. All right, Chalky, you're not getting off the hook here. We're
No.
We're going to give your bets here. So you have Rashid Shaheed for over 14.5 rushing yards. That did not happen.
I think it was negative.
He got 1 rush, one for -5. I think
-5. Yeah,
that was it.
Then you had Walker. I don't know if I could even read this. Walker and
Stevenson 5 rushing yards each quarter. That was good through halftime. It did Stevenson.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was wondering.
I think Stevenson got maybe 1 carry in the whole second half.
He didn't get many. Yeah, his carries.
So that was still alive at halftime, but
yeah. Then you had Cup over 69.5 receiving yards, which did not happen.
No,
you had
that was me getting too greedy on the slider. I wouldn't have won the contest, but over 59 was plus 400 and something. So it would have made me positive, but.
So you picked 2 defensive MVPs, which would, Lawrence, that didn't happen. Who was Williams? Was that Milton Williams? Or
Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams, okay. So you were on the right path.
I mean, we both had the right idea that this could be a year where the quarterback doesn't win. I mean, you did use Darnold, obviously, but when you pick Shaheed, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
No, but no,
they were all big swings, and it just didn't happen.
So I wound up losing $34 out of 100. I was negative 34. You lost your whole 100, Chalky.
Yep.
So.
All right, and then one last thing, and then we'll move on. Not to take away, and everybody loves Vrabel. Vrabel was terrible.
Yeah.
As a coach in that game,
you got out coach.
I mean, his obviously not going for 2 on that one is. I mean, had no shot. But
and then he goes for 2 on the other one, like because we would have had a glimmer of hope at least to maybe,
But that's just inexcusable. And 2, I mean, I understand your defense playing. Like, at some point, you could see where the trend is. You got to go for one of those 4th downs where it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, 4th. You got to take a shot somewhere. Like, you can't just keep punting and going 3 and out.
Yeah.
So. For all the Vrabel lovers out there, he was not good. But
no,
he's a good coach.
It did not show up this week. And Jason, you mentioned the blocks. I found somewhere where they laid out the number of times in all 60 through 59 Super Bowls when numbers have ended at a quarter. Out of the 3 we had, at least one of them had never happened. Super. So like you could get a score change that we would have, but we had at least one combination that has never happened in Super Bowl history to end a quarter.
To have 3 blocks that were as bad as we had the percentage had to be like 0.2% or something for us to get blocks as
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, we had what, a 5 and a 4. I was
We had
when it was
no-
when it was 12-0, I was like, well, if New England somehow scores twice, yeah, I'm gonna kick a field goal and get a 15-14 game.
We
But
had no like it's just it's
yeah,
unreal.
there's no chance.
Unreal.
All right, let's move on here. Be a quicker show than normal. Oh, a programming note before we move on. I probably should have said it in the beginning here. But this is probably going to be our last show on the platforms as far as Spotify and Apple and all those as like a weekly show. We're going to have content at times for the audio only, but it's not going to be consistent week to week. However, we will still remain on YouTube weekly. That's going to be our main outlet. So continue to subscribe to the YouTube channel where we'll be releasing every one of our shows. But on the audio only content, it's going to be limited. So it's not going to be every week. So just keep that in mind. So if you did not move over to the YouTube platform, please move over, subscribe so they drop. You'll get it when they drop. And also, we will not be doing a show next week, which we did talk about, I think, last week, but just another reminder. No show next week. We'll take a little bye after the long football season, and then we'll come back for the Derby and baseball run, pretty much, and golf, and golf season starts. So a little programming note for everybody out there. All right, let's move on. The Kentucky Derby Trail has begun. I guess there's already been a couple races, or not many, right? But yeah, the Holy Bull, I guess, was the other day. But kicking off at Fairgrounds as we start off our Derby Trail season. Fairgrounds is home to the Risen Star this week, which you're capping. And what's their big race? Is that the
Louisiana Derby.
Louisiana Derby.
However, if I remember, and Chalky probably knows, a lot of the Philly horses have come out of Fairgrounds to be very successful on the
Yeah,
on
so
the
the
Oaks Trail.
Fairground Oaks, which was goes on Louisiana Derby Day, has seen a couple. Rachel Alexandra, probably most notably, but I think Torpedo Anna came through that, or she might came through.
Well, yeah,
Arkansas,
wasn't
but
the favorite last year? Wasn't the Pratt horse the favorite, or the one that closed? Was that last year or the year before? I think won the race.
Wet Paint, is that 2 years
Yeah,
ago?
Wet Paint.
Yeah, that came.
Yeah,
She
Wet
came.
Paint.
She came from Louisiana 2 years ago.
So
And then a couple
got
years
a lot of-
ago, Asmussen had a good Derby horse who should have won the Derby. That was the year that hit
Yeah,
that Rich Strike won.
I
Epicenter.
can't think of his
Epicenter should have won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would have
Epicenter.
won thousands of dollars, of course.
Of course,
Epicenter
of
won.
course.
Epicenter. So yeah, it's so Fairgrounds has been a pretty good trail. So we're gonna kick it off with we're gonna handicap pick 4 that does end with the Risen Star. So it encompasses 4 races. We'll do starting with race 9, which is the Mine Shaft. It's a grade 3 mile and a 16th for what looks like to be colts, male horses. Chalky, I'll let you go.
Oh well, first, all right. So not very deep here. My top pick will be the 2 Accelerize, Pletcher and Johnny V. One, I call it a prep, but it was the grade 3 Louisiana Stakes at Fairgrounds last month at this distance. Set a fast pace. The form rated it as a race shape that would be favorable for closers. Managed to go wire to wire. So might be able to get a comfortable lead again. So that'll be my top pick. The best horse in the race is probably the 6 Hit Show with Cox and Drew. Has ran real well in graded companies, won some graded races. Won that Louisiana grade 3 that I just mentioned last year, did not run in it this year. He's going to be sitting a little farther back, but he just might be the best horse at 9-5. I'm not going to make him my top pick at that value, but you have to use him. So I'm 2-6 in the knife.
All right. Yeah, I'll go here. I'm pretty similar. I added a horse in, but I was 2 as well as my top pick for similar reasons. Ran a fast pace on the pace and was able to hold on in a grade 3, first time in graded company. Fairgrounds tends to be speed favoring from what I've seen in these, especially these big races. You can go back to a couple of the Asmussen horses that just kind of flew on the lead and never looked back. So I'm looking for horses in the speeds up front. So 2 Accelerate was my top pick, or Accelerize was my top pick. And then I was 5'6" as well. Both mid-pack horses who have a nice kick, nice middle move, and fire late. So I figured I got it covered with a horse up front, and then I got it covered with two of the better horses that are going to run kind of mid and then make that run late. So I'm 2, 5, 6. Jason.
So for me, I'm going to just take a shot and single. I mean, hit show is not going to be 9 to 5. I mean, he's going to be like odds on at the very least. I mean, he's just, to me, he's by far the class of the field. Now, he runs a stinker every once in a while, but I don't really. I mean, the only other horse I give somewhat of a chance to is the 2 Accelerise, because he is going to be on the lead, and maybe he just gets away and gets the lead. But I'm taking a shot here and just single and hit show. I think he's going to be at least even money, if not less than even money, and I'm taking my shot. I just don't. I'm not crazy about any other horse in here.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I mean, you look at Hit Show's grade 3 race, 4 or 5, and I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't win, I'm not going to win, because I could pick 3 or another 3 horses maybe.
All right, let's move on to race 10, which is a mile and an 8 on the turf. It's the Fairgrounds Stakes, I guess. The turf at Fairgrounds over the last few years has been a little quirky. I don't know if that has continued, where you've seen horses run like in the middle of the turf course to win races. So I don't know if it's still like that, but I would assume it's still kind of a quirky one. So, Jason, we'll let you start here.
Yeah, so this is my spread race. Like you said, the turf here it's you're all over the place with it. My opinion here is I'm trying to beat the DeVoe horse, the 2 Brilliant Birdie, who's coming off of like a layoff, and I heard that she is just putting this horse in as a stepping stone to. There's another race coming up that he's being pointed to. Is it he or she? I don't want to misgender it. It's a he. So I'm trying to beat the 2. So my top pick's going to be the 6 Monador, who's proven at the distance. He's won at the track. He's probably going to sit a nice trip. So I'm making him my top choice. I'm going to use the 8 with the goofy name. I'd rather be blessed. Who may be on the lead and may just keep on going. He's proven that he's got wins at the track. He's won at the distance. I'm going to take a shot that maybe, I get a price on a horse that's going to go wire to wire here. I'm also going to use the 9 Laganos, who's got technical speed. Certainly has the talent to win this race. I'm going to throw in the 7 Capuna, who won the, I don't know if you could say it's a prep for this race, but the last turf stakes race at the Fairgrounds about a month ago. Just throwing him in. And then I'm also going to throw the 5 Cameo Performance in. I'm just spreading here. Like I said, my strategy here is to beat the DeVoe horse, the 2 Brilliant Birdie. So I'm 5 deep, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right, and I'll go here. I'm actually pretty similar with Jason. I was also trying to beat the DeVoe horse. If you look at his race, to start the 25 season was the Munez, whatever, threw in a clunker at 6-1, and then came back and won, an open stakes race. So maybe I'm trying to use that strategy. Maybe, like Jason said, just not really putting it in the race to get ready and fire. My top pick was the 7 Capuna. So horses accelerated once it jumped back on the turf. Did have a previous turf race way back in its form, but kind of got reestablished on the turf after a claim. So it was a horse claim. Norm figures this looks more of a turf horse, puts him on, and he's improved ever since. So I love that angle. So I'm going to use the 7 Capuna as my top pick. And then I'll just go through some of my other ones. Was Monador, the 6. I thought I was being clever and had the 8 in as well, but Jason had him as well. And the 9. So I am 6, 7, 8, 9 with 7 as my top pick. Jonathan?
My top pick is the 7, Capruna. Won't say anything else about that. My second pick is the 7, Monador. The one
Six.
thing,
Six.
6. I'm sorry, 6. Yes. The one thing that sort of jumped out to me and looking at is so this horse has either paired its previous number or jumped up in every race. Last race was a big jump, jumped up to a 4 on the sheets. Pairing that 4 could very well be good enough to win this race, and if it goes up to a 2, definitely good enough to win this race. So, 6 was my second choice, and my third choice was the 8. I'd rather be blessed. Has a pace presence and has won at the track and won the Munoz here last year, which is their premier turf race of the meet on Louisiana Derby Day. So obviously has run well at this track. And although Pedroza is a downgrade from Curtis, who was on the horse back then, he's been on this horse and he won a stakes race late last year on the horse. So I don't know that that's really a drop. So that much of a drop. So 7, 6, 8 for me.
All right. Let's move on. Race 11 is the Rachel Alexander Grade 2 for the Fillies mount and the 16th for 3-year-olds. This is definitely a prep for the Oaks, the Kentucky Oaks for the Fillies. This is where I singled. So I'm taking the shot with the favorite here, Bella Ballerina, coming off of a mild layoff, first race as a 3-year-old of the year. Look, I'm looking for speed in these races, and this race to me just lacked like a true pace horses. I had the 3, the 6, and the 7 as horses that are going to kind of run up front. So in my opinion, if it's going to be a race where there's not going to be a lot of speed and the best horse is going to be close to the lead, has by far the best number, ran a 5 as a 2-year-old. So, your fear would be, well, maybe she doesn't come back to that, but I'm going to bank that she does with a good trainer in Brendan Walsh. She comes back to that number. She's close to a lead, if not on the lead, with the top jock in a race that doesn't have a ton of speed. I'm going to take the short price. And this is another situation where the hit show is not going to be 95. I would be surprised if this horse is 2-1. I think this is 6-5, 7-5 type of look. So I'm going to take the shot with the 3 as my single. Chalky.
Yeah, the 3 is my single as well. I debated between, my ticket's going to end up being fairly cheap, so I thought about using the 6 who you mentioned, Tom. I think if one of the horses in the lead was to hold on, I would go with the 6 over the other ones. But I'm thinking that the 3 just might be too good here.
Yeah, you know what, too? I don't like the 6. I don't like these horses that obviously keeps running second, has a little bit of a problem with not being able to pass. So they put the blinkers on. And if this is a Thursday allowance race or a clay, I'm fine with that. A grade 2 on, a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. They're trying to me, that screams like maybe the horse is decent horse, just not.
Yeah. I know, like I didn't get to watch these replays for this particular horse, but and they lost an iron in 2 races ago and lost by a head and then lost by a neck. The blinkers on, obviously, it's a 20 whatever % move for Stidham, but like I said, I just thought I'm expecting the 3 to be good enough that there's no reason to spend any more money on this, so it's just a 3.
All right, Jason.
Yeah, so I'm going 3 deep here. The 3 is my top choice. Bella Ballerina should sit a nice trip, has tactical speed, good trainer, good thoroughgraph numbers. I mean, there's nothing really not to like about the horse, but I am going to use the 6. Who, like you said, Tom, 6 is love your neighbor. Might have second-itis, but gets a jockey upgrade. I mean, you go from Concepcion to Saez, so that's an upgrade to me. Good trainer, and the thoroughgraph numbers are improving. So I don't think she's out of the question to take a jump up and maybe steal the race. I'm also going to use the 1 just singing. Again, decent thoroughgraphs, but needs pace to run into. Might not get the pace, but
that was my concern. Yeah, there.
Yeah, but the thoroughgraph numbers are good. These young fillies, sometimes they're quirky. Maybe one of them jumps up here. So I'm just, I fully expect the 3 to win, but I'm gonna spread a little bit. 3, 6, and 1 are my horses.
All right, and then let's move to the headline race, which is a race 12. It's the mile and an 1/8, the Risen Star. which is 5:30 Central. So it's just an hour, 6:30 our time. I guess it'll be going.
6:30. Yeah,
6:30 our time to finish off this pick 4. Chalky, we'll start with you. How do you see it ending?
So I actually I'm gonna have 3 horses in this race here. So I'll put the favorite on top. Paladin looked actually is technically 2 for 2, I guess, because DQ'd in the first. I did not watch that replay to see if that would have been a race where that should have won anyway. But ran well in the Remsen to beat that other horse back and ran I think the biggest buyer of the group here. It's Brown, it's Gafflin. It's a $1.9 million horse, so they obviously have Derby aspirations. Wasn't that big of a difference on the sheets. So there's a couple other horses I do like. So my second pick is the 5 Chip Honcho. Now I did go back and watch the Lecomte, which was the grade 3 prep for this race. This horse, he had the outside post. He broke slow and broke out towards the grandstand, and Paco Lopez pulled him in, rushed him up 5 wide on the first turn. And the horse, Paco was riding him like he was loaded at the top of the stretch, and the horse just ran out of gas. Still finished 4th. Lopez, I think, is suspended or whatever now, but Saez
broke his ankle.
Oh, broke his ankle. Saez is on the horse. Significant upgrade. I thought he ran a sneaky good race, all things considered. And with the jockey upgrade, I think he's worth a look. And then the other horse I have is the 2 Golden Tempo, who won that Lecomte race. Ortiz got a little bit of a break because, it came from the back and Ortiz could have gotten trouble, but the path towards the rail opened up and he was able to sling down and then get through him there. If that doesn't happen, this horse might not win, but the horse, and he had a favorable pace set up, but there could be some pace in this race. So if Ortiz, who's ridden the horse again, can keep him out of trouble, if those horses start to back up, he could be coming again. So 4, 5, 2 in the 12th.
Well, Chalky, I hope your horse picks are better than your prop picks, because we have pretty much the same, I think, in every race. So I actually had 2, 4, 5 as well, but my top pick was the 2 opposed to Chalky's 4. So the 2 jumped up, it went up to a 7 on the Theragraph at the mile on the 16th in the Lecomte. I do, unlike the DeVoe horse from last race, if we didn't cover it, but the horse won a maiden special weight, making a nice minimum, but that was with Lasix. This horse improved without Lasix, and now obviously, as we know, these races are run without Lasix. So I do like that as well. And the other thing is, I'm scared a little bit that the horse doesn't really have a ton of speed. It needs pace. This race looks like there's going to be a good amount of pace in it. You go through the early projections on DRF, and it's a lot of big numbers, triple digit numbers there. You look at the PPs, it's a lot of horses that want the lead. So I do think this race is going to have it. I could see, Jose Ortiz on the 2 slot just kind of sitting that perfect rail trip and, bumping out late and making that one big run to catch the front horses. So I like the 2 fairly well here as my top pick. I don't know. How can you really leave the 4 off your ticket? Ran the best races as a 2-year-old, coming back as a 3-year-old. It's Brown, Gaffleone. Can't really argue. And then if there is a horse, maybe the jock see that the pace is going to be kind of honest, and maybe they let Saez get there, steal it, or go off, at least sit fairly close. 2 good races were without blinkers in his first 2 races, so taking them off and going back to that. So taking a little shot there. I think 6-1's probably a little generous on that horse, but I'm taking a shot. So 2, 4, 5 for myself to end it with the 2 as my top pick. Jason?
So I came very close to single Paladin here, but I'm going to go too deep. Paladin to me is just the best horse. His last race against Renegade was definitely her.
She.
It's not a she.
The Rachel Alexander's of Colts. We're doing the other race. You're right. I'm wrong. Forgot it. We switched races.
Okay. So Paladin, the last race was verified. Renegade came back and won the Sam Davis last week. So, And Renegade is like a top 5 Derby horse currently. You know, I don't know if that's gonna remain, but so I came very close to single Paladin. I think he's the real deal. I think Brown really likes him, from what I've heard. But I'm gonna throw in the 7 Courting. Um, I mean, he's got talent. You know, he's a $5 million yearling who has run decent thoroughgraph numbers. Like I think he ran 2 9s if I remember offhand, and then he came back with a 7. Adding blinkers now, because the starts of his last couple of races hasn't been great. So Pletcher's adding blinks to him. Maybe that's going to give him speed. Maybe that's going to put him closer to the lead. There might be others, you know, obviously there's probably going to be other speed in this race. So I don't know. I don't know what that's going to do for him as far as pace wise, but I think maybe it gets him out of the gate better. And I like I said, his thoroughgraph numbers have not been bad otherwise. So I'm taking a shot that maybe he shows why he was, you know, bought for $5 million. Maybe the blanks work for him. I think Paladin's going to win, but I'm going to throw in the 7. So I'm 4-7.
All right. Chalky, you want to give out your pick 4?
I can certainly do that if I can get my PDF scrolled over to my ticket. So, first leg, which is race 9, 2-6. Second leg, 6-7-8. Single the 3 in the third leg, and in the last leg, go 2-4-5. So for $1, that's $18.
All right, I'll go. I was 2-5-6 in the first leg. I was 6-7-8-9 in the third leg. I singled to the 3 in the Rachel in the third leg, and I was 2-4-5 in the Risen Star to finish it. So I believe for $1, that's 3 and 12, 36 for $1. Jason?
So I am I have for $1 it's going to be $30. So I'm singling the 6 in race 9 hit show. I'm spreading in race 10. I'm 5 deep, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Race 11, I'm spreading. I'm 3 deep, 1, 3, 6. And then race 12, I'm 4 Paladin and 7 Courting. So for $1, it's $30.
Okay, so pretty modest tickets to start the Kentucky Derby Trail this year for us. Hopefully we'll see how we go. We all could hit it. We all have some sort of variation where we have the same horse. So let's see how we can kick off the Derby season. Again, some notes. We will not have a show next week. And our audio content on Apple and iTunes or whatever they are, Spotify, is now going to become limited. So it's not going to be continuous show of the full episode every week. For that, stick to the YouTube channel, which is you can find us Broad Street Hustle, and subscribe so you get the drops as soon as it comes out. Anything else from the boys before we sign off a little early this evening?
Rest in peace of Fleet Alex.
Yeah, I didn't know. Jason said Fleet Alex and John Sheriff.
And John Sheriff's, yep. Yeah, so kind of crazy.
That was my first classic. I was at the Preakness in 2005, and I was there for the Fleet Alex win.
Oh, when he almost fell.
Scrappy
Yeah.
T, yeah.
I think we were at the Turf Club, Chalky.
We were at the now defunct. Well, I think they're all defunct now. I think, but I
think for a Fleet Alex's Belmont, I might have been in the Brigada Poker Room.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in a shark fishing tournament for that.
I also went fishing that day and had a ridiculously nasty sunburn, which Tommy probably remembers later. But I did. I watched that down the shore after fishing.
You had a ridiculously.
I had a ridiculously bad sunburn as my face blistered up.
Oh, sunburn.
Sunburn,
yes.
yeah. That was one of the worst I ever had. At least the worst of my face, but yeah, it was bad.
I do remember that. It's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, but he was, I mean, you know, we were lucky enough. I mean, really, like those two horses being local horses and those connections is really what like got it, you know, moving for me in this. And for a horse that's wasn't a pace horse, that just makes some of those moves that he made in both of those two races was insane. It's a shame he couldn't run on after the injury, but still legendary.
Probably should have won the Triple Crown.
He should have won the Triple Crown.
He was by far the best horse in the Derby, but Rose did not give him a great ride.
Yeah, they're the ones where the back-to-back years where you have like Stuart Elliott, like in today's sport, the way it is, those guys would have been replaced prior to the big races, if I had to guess. Maybe not, but those.
I mean, he possibly. I mean, the thing is, if you think about how, if they were riding at Saratoga, sure, but if you have a horse that came from Parks or Delaware Park at this point, the trainer might not replace him.
Yeah, in
but
today's Delaware Park.
yeah, so it's but those are small trainers, journeyman jockeys. Well, Rose was a little younger, but they were going against all the big wigs and almost had two Triple Crowns back to back.
That Scrappy T was one of the, craziest things I've probably seen in horse.
I actually hit that exact, I believe it.
Where you can win. I mean, it was
think I had
how
it
the
too,
horse
yeah.
doesn't fall and then comes on and runs on. Is
I mean, it
unbelievable.
was, he went to his knee, like how, it was one of the greatest
Yeah.
athletic feats ever of any equine, human or otherwise, but it was just amazing.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, episode 194 Broad Street Hustle. We'll see you in 2 weeks.